Hi everyone. It's been another hot minute and we're already halfway through summer in Edmonton. Well, I guess it's halfway through summer for probably most people that are in summer mode right now. Anyways, today I want to go through showing you how I went from one journal for 2025, for the first half of 2025, to four. I originally wanted one journal to kind of encapsulate everything, and now I've landed at four. So how did I get here? Let's dive into this. So before I run through what I'm currently using for the latter half of 2025, I thought I'd do a quick run through on how I was using a journal for 2025 for the first half of the year, and really kind of how I branched out into the separate journals and planner systems, literally like 4 months into diving into the planner world. So how I liked my planner before, this isn't even the first half, this is May and June of 2025. I was really hoping to kind of carry through and use it for the rest of the year, but using this kind of journal where I don't know how many page counts there are in this Artist Loft journal. It's just a blank dotted journal with 120 GSM paper, bright white, and I really liked it because I was able to kind of create my pages and layouts as I needed to on the fly. But as I started diving into more of a system in terms of planning and sort of capturing my day-to-day, it became very cumbersome. And so I wanted to move into something that had a little more structure, that was already templated for me, and then I could kind of still do, my little extras that I do in my journal. So typically how I have my journal is I have it so that it starts off with a month, and then I have my monthly layout. Then I have a Storyworthy page for the month and a gratitude page for the month. Storyworthy is really, again, anything that was different today than it was yesterday. Just help me remember those moments and memories. And then gratitude is sort of the things that I'm grateful for today. So usually I try to do one thing a day. I know most people try to do three, but I find sometimes three I'm really racking and stretching my brain. And maybe that's a good thing, but I don't also want to be spending too much time in that area because I have a lot of things on the go. But I feel like if you do one thing a day, I think you're well on your way to just living a life full of gratitude and recognizing things to be grateful for. Then I have a monthly check-in page, which I don't use anymore, a brain dump page, and then it goes into the week. After the week, it goes into my daily pages that has sort of like a running list of what I need to do and what I want to accomplish for that day. Followed by prompt. If there's no prompt, it's usually because I have something that I want to write about or know I want to kind of like process and kind of journal out. Otherwise, if I don't have anything or nothing's coming to my head right away, then I'll have a prompt, and then that kind of like spurs the brain to kind of like, process, I guess, or think through some of the things. I do like to add little things into my journal because personality is a big thing. And then basically it kind of follows that same kind of process until, let's say, the next month, and then again at the monthly, etc., etc. And then that was the journal. So that was sort of how the first half of 2025 went. Let me just navigate how I went from one journal to four. Seems a little crazy, and I do sometimes feel like it's a little crazy, but it actually works out. Where the limitation was with my previous journal was that I love the flexibility of being able to add as many things to my daily pages because there was really no set limit as to what that daily page looked like. It wasn't just one page. I could use multiple pages and write about anything. But what I didn't like about it was when I went back to kind of look at, progress or kind of where I came from, etc., depending what the topic was, it was very difficult to find that information. I do not want to release my index very often in my bullet journal because I just kind of go by days. So it just was working, but wasn't quite working because I was looking for more efficiency, which I know seems kind of counterintuitive because how can I go from one book that seems efficient to now 4 books for efficiency? So this is what I have amounted to. I have amounted to a fitness journal, a 5-year memory book, and I'll go through what I'm using each of these for, an adventure journal, and this guy's getting big for 2025, and then my daily planner. This is my RLP, my Rosie Life Planner, that I decided to use for the rest of 2025. So let me go through these videos first here. So the fitness journal, what am I using for this? So I wanted a place to be able to track everything I was doing in terms of fitness, because I feel like it's great to be able to track it in my journal before. So this is how I was tracking before. It is in the weekly pages. I would have the little icons from TCMC, the Comfy Monsters Co. Tracking my, workouts. So that's lifting weights, getting movement in terms of walking, going to bed early or on time, not early. So usually I try to go to bed by 11, never make that. And then reading. So these are sort of my non-negotiables, and you can see that I do really poorly when it comes to sleeping. My reading targets are more so that I just want to make sure that I am reading, because I do enjoy reading. I have always enjoyed reading. And then these are just more like a health thing. Like if health is really important to me, so I want to be able to take care of it now before I get older, when things get a little harder, obviously. So those are my non-negotiables. So that's how I was tracking it. So in order to like see, at a glance, how I'm doing, I have to flip through every week. Mind you, I also do have apps that I use to track health. So I do use an app called Habit Tracker. I also use another app, I think it's Day One. So that's a digital journal that I use to kind of pop quick things into that I can transfer into my journals when I do sit down and do them. So back to the fitness journal. So if you don't know who this is Dr. Now. I believe he was the doctor on My 600-Pound Life on TLC. Anyways, I somehow came across a bunch of these stickers off a swap that I received for free. And I just think they're super funny. So they're on par with my fitness journal. So I stuck one on here. So this is a Peter Piper Press food and fitness logbook. I discovered this because I was walking through, I think we have a store or like an area here called Manchester Square in Edmonton. And they have I think it was the Tin Box perhaps. Anyways, I was perusing their section of journals because I can easily get lost. Like, don't ever drop me off at chapters because you'll never find me again, sort of thing. But anyways, I saw this book and I was like, oh, this looks great. But it was, I think it was like 20, I don't even know. In the store, it was like 20 bucks maybe it was 15, I can't remember. So I went online because I always do this. I don't know if any of you do this as well. I pulled up my phone, went on Amazon to see if it was cheaper anywhere else, or on the online to see if it was cheaper anywhere else. And Amazon was selling it for $5. So I was like, well, $5 versus 15 or 20, no brainer. So I decided to order it. But I decided to order after I took a look at what the content was, because I don't just want to order something just because it's cheap. So this is a 3-month food and fitness logbook. How they're laid out is you have the weekly, so you have your meal plan, and then you have your fitness goals for the week. And then you have the day. So you have the day for the food, the day for the fitness, and it just continues that way until your week is up, and then it starts again. So I thought this was fairly primitive, fairly basic. It kind of captures everything I want to, and I can see at a glance, and I can always still add in things I wanted to if I wanted to like slap in a photo of like my progress photo or weight and stuff like that. So I also use another app. I have a scale off Amazon that I don't know, I think it's like bioelectricity or something, but somehow it shoots some sort of current through your body from your feet, and it measures all sorts of things. And so there's an app that goes with that scale, and it kind of measures everything from BMI to your weight, etc. And I really use it to track my weight. I don't know how accurate the protein reading is and the muscle mass and all that stuff. And let's not even talk about the BMI indicator on there. But this is just, I thought, a great way for me to visually see everything in one place. And then I know that I'm physically doing it, because if I have blank pages, that means that I'm not doing it. So the food and fitness weekly plan, I started on the 14th because I got it. I think I received this on maybe the day before or 2 days before. And I didn't want to start anything until the beginning of the week, which was the Monday of the week. But even then I failed. But I'm trying to have a lot of grace for myself in this area, because we're just starting, and so I wanted to let's just get the actions and the steps sort of, consistent. And over time, I should see that consistency instead of beating myself up about it. Because I used to, if I didn't do this, let's say I didn't fill this in, and then my first day I didn't, do it, I would stop. I would say, well, what the heck then? I'm gonna wait until the next week. And the next week becomes the next week. And before I know it, a year's gone, and here I am still struggling with the same thing. And And then I recognize that, you know what, I just need to keep going. Like, that's what consistency is about. It's not about giving the same percentage every single day. It's about giving what you can in the day that you can do it, and you just keep going. And you just, everything builds on each other. And over time, I should see results, or hopefully I will see results. And if anything, the mental or the mindset gains, I think, is way more important, I think, than like the pounds lost or the muscles gained, even though those are important as well, especially if you're trying to lead, you know, get to a healthier space for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So you can see, again, I have an app that I use called Macros, I think, and it tracks your macros when you enter in the item or the food item that you're eating, and it kind of spits out the macros of proteins, carbs, and fats for you. And I just felt if I was doing that plus a digital app, it just became too cumbersome, and I moved away from tracking the app because it just was too much. Like, that's a whole nother segment that I can probably go into. But anyway, so I decided to stop with the values because that's not what's important. Let's build slowly and get me to where I need to go before I add in, you know, more data-driven kind of results, I guess. So then I would just basically put in what I ate that day and kind of left it at that, so I could at least see, am I on trend with eating the way that I want to eat, or am I still intentionally, you know, choosing foods that aren't so good for me? Same thing with fitness. I kind of just do that. And that's how I track my fitness. And I'll probably check in a little bit, maybe in a month, and show you how it's going. But that's how I'm doing fitness for now. So this is my Some Lines a Day Leuchtturm 1917 5-year memory book. I don't know if I said that correctly or not, but in my head phonetically, that's how it would sound. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I've never used a Leuchtturm book before, nor Moleskine or anything like that. So I'm always wary about, you can see the paper sort of like an ivory paper, and I really like bright white. But out of all the Some Lines a Day 5-year memory books that I saw at Chapters and online, this one just stood out to me as one of the better quality ones, and I just like the space it has each day to write in. So I decided to go with this, and it came in a nice little pink cover, which I like, so that's what I rolled with. So in here, I already stamped that it's from 2025 to 2029. I'm really hoping that I can keep up with this. I feel like it should be an easy upkeep because really it's just, this is like a book of joy. It's like a book of things that I like am grateful for and things that happen in my life that are memories or that I want to remember. And so I feel like this is for 5 years. Like, that's amazing. But so then we go into, I use the Coffee Monsters Co. tabs. I just really like her little tiny tabs. They're just super cute, but I probably would have, the perfectionist in me would have probably centered all these, but I was just kind of starting and going. So the fact that they're fairly consistently spaced is a win. The fact that they're not centered is not a win, but that's okay. I'm letting it go. I'm in my letting it go era. So here we are. So I have January, and kind of how I'm doing it is, I would love if I had a 25 stamp that size that I could just stamp instead of writing it out every day. But basically what I'm doing it is writing out my story-worthy item on the left, and then writing out my gratitude piece on the right in that space for that day. So it goes January 1st, and you have the same day, the different years all on one page, which I love. So you can see at a glance. It's sort of like if you've ever used 1 Second app, or really any other apps. I think, you know, Facebook sort of does this too. Kind of reminds you of your memories 4 years ago, 2 years ago. And I love that because it's so easy to forget all the things we've done and accomplished and seen. So those little memory reminders are always great, but it's also a great reminder of like, how am I going to intentionally live my life today and going forward? Anyways, I got this book in July. So when I ordered this, I had to backtrack. And thankfully, because I had all those monthly pages, I was able to easily backtrack and write down everything in here so that I wasn't missing half the year. So I really am thankful I did that. And then you can see here now I have my story-worthy moment and my gratitude moment. So I don't write down story-worthy and gratitude here. I just know, because they're sort of in a way almost one and the same, and almost not, but they don't always have to be the same thing. So this one just seemed similar, but there's other days where it's completely different in terms of what I'm grateful for and kind of the moment that happened. And some days there's no moment. Some days there's no story. Some days it's just what I'm grateful for. And if I have more that I'm grateful for, then usually I'll write more, but usually I just try to stick with one and go from there. And that's how that's going so far for this one. And then we have our adventure book. So could I have ordered a different type of journal for this? Probably, but I do really like the Michaels Artist Loft Premium Dotted Journals. I feel for the value that you get. It's $13.99. I've mentioned this 6,000 times, I'm sure, in my other videos that I have. But just the quality that it comes in, I feel like the binding, I mean, the book does kind of curve a bit as you add, and I tend to add a lot of stuff into my planners sometimes, or my journals, especially when they're like just kind of thought journals or journals like this. The spine holds up really well as well. I mean, the spine never really expands, I find it's just the book width that just gets really chunky. So that's what that looks like here. But the quality of the pages, like I said, is just like, it's bright white. The squares, I think, are all like roughly 4 mil to 4 mil. I'm not going to measure it here. And it comes with, this is the premium one, so it comes with, you know, like some front and back covers, and then a pocket as well, which is awesome. So for $14.99 and a pen loop, $14.99 or $13.99, you can't beat this price for this. See, in my previous journal, it was captured within each day or week or month of that week, and I never really tabbed it out. I never indexed it out, etc. Now it's all captured in one book. Will I run out of space for the rest of the year for adventures? Maybe, but I feel like maybe I won't. I don't know. It'll really depend on what I decide to capture in here for my adventures and what I write about them. But that's my adventure book. All right, so now we're with my Rosy Life Planner. So this is my day-to-day planning. This is just my everyday. So I have my monthly, then I have my weekly, then I have my daily. So I got this journal probably around the 9th or 10th, and so there's nothing in here leading up to, and then I get into my dailies, and that's sort of how I'm using this. And so again, my daily planning is in my Rosy Life Planner. Any of my adventures is in my adventure planner. My Storyworthy are like, you know, highlights of my life, and gratitude moments are in my 5 lines a day, or some lines a day. And then my fitness tracking is in my fitness planner from Peter Pilbara Press. So hopefully, again, it does seem a little excessive going from one to many, but I feel like this just kind of gives me a better sense of where I am with each of these different areas. So anyways, let me know how you're handling your 2025 planning. Did you go from one to multiple or multiple to one? And how's that working for you? Anyways, until next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye.